Hi, so I just went through like an hour and a half of recording and discovered that I wasn't recording at all, so I'm having to backtrack here, so I'm a little disappointed with myself. But anyway, we'll move on again. I've just kind of gone through this and now I'm going to have to kind of go through it again. So let me see if maybe it'll be an improvement the second time around. So let me have a look. We can see here, that's not what I'm looking to bring up, this here. So this is the house. It's showing me that the beams in on this other floor are 22 foot 8. These are verifying fields, so we'll have to verify these. There's approximate dimensions, 22 foot 8. So we're going to go 22 foot 8 for these middle beams. So all I'm going to do is copy this and this. 22 foot 8 is going to be 11 foot 10 foot, 22 foot 8, 10 foot 9.5. So 10 foot 9.5. Let's see if that dimension is correct. There's a floating one, or that elevation. 22 foot 8. Okay. So that is the height of these ridge beams. Let's check these beams here on this level. They're a lot too. Okay, so I want to copy these across the building. So again, I'll do this the same way. Now these are 12 by 14s. So let's switch this to a 12 by 14. Check the naming is good. Lot phase has come in automatically from the last time. Or no, because I copied it, sorry. So it's not going to be, it's going to be 3. So I'll just switch it now to 3. And then we're going to copy this. And let's go back here and switch these off. So in the early stages of modeling, it's probably good to just have node on. But I think every other time I would like to have the other ones on. Okay, so we've copied all those. This one here on the front of the building is actually going to be the same size as this one. So I've added this to the quick access toolbar in the last video. So just go to tools and right click and it'll give you an option here to add it. It's already added, so I don't have the option. So I want to make this beam, I want to take this size of this beam and make this beam the same size. So the first one you select is what's going to continue on. Alright, so that's that beam there. Now if we check the drawings, we can see this comes down and meets here, match existing, and this is up higher, makes into here with moment connections. Okay, these are all now let's check the slope again there. Actually 12 is to 12. Okay, so my slope is good. So what I want to do now is I want to get my XY plane the same as this beam here. So there's a couple of ways to do that. I can just rotate it around the X and the Y, or we can put it at this, and the second one should be the Z. Yeah, so and now draw a line. So the whatever axis you click on is going to be the Z axis. So I'm going to put a line in here and I'm going to put it down here 45 degrees. Okay, so there's my line. Now I'm used to working in 3D space, so it doesn't always snap right for you, but you know, maybe it's better if you go to the top here like this and do it this way. You can also restrict your UCS by using this one here. So if you set the UCS as the center of this beam and click on this, it'll only allow the line to go in that plane. So alright, so what I'm going to do now is we need to find the height of this level. So in order to find that height, what we can do is we can join these two together. So what I'm going to do right now is I need a couple of custom commands that I use a lot, so let's add them now. So I've already put the icons in the last video, so I'll just show you where they go. So I'm going to right click here and I'm going to add a new category, and I'm going to call it ADM, and then the picture is going to come from toolbars. So if you go into advanced steel, so you want to go to your C drive, I'll just do it quickly. C drive, program data, sorry, I was just checking to make sure it's still recording. I don't want the same thing to happen as last time. Advanced Steel 2022 USA steel support toolbars, and this is the one I'll use. Now you can use an active and an inactive icon. I'm not going to do that right now, that's in another video I've done, so that's good. I have a new category. Now you can't just create a new icon or a new command in here, you have to create the command somewhere else. So let's pick one of these that has a small amount, pick the last one. This is what I do. And then let's say we want to create a new one. So let's create, sorry, these palettes drive me crazy sometimes. You know what, let me close that, we don't need it. And I want to create a new command, and the new command I want is from the forums online. I have a commands, custom command, forum, and advanced steel, and it's worth having a look at. Get some commands. Some of them are good, some of them are, you know, you're not really going to use them, to be honest. Just save. So we're going to do save and close. So I'm just going to do save close, if I could only spell right. And the picture I have in that same folder I just showed you. So here it has become available on the ones that I've been clicking on regularly. So save and close. Okay, so this is the path up here. Okay, so there's your save and close. So now just grab that and drag it in there, and now we can create them inside here. So let's create a new command, and let's do trim system. And let's go back here, toolbars. I don't know why it doesn't bring you into the same one. Trim system, and then the command, let's go back here. Trim extend system, copy, paste. Now I should really call this trim extend, right? And get spell system right. Now you can go back in and change these later if you want. There is a way to do that. That's also in the other video I did. And then let's do the last command, which is fillet radius 0. The picture is going to be the same location because I copied them in here in the last attempt at recording this video. And the command is going to be fillet radius 0. The commands are, I won't say simple, but you can see how they work. It's like escape, so to get out of whatever command, and then fillet, return, radius, return, 0, return. So you can kind of create your own if you go look at it. So now here's my custom commands. So now what I want to do is I'm going to make these two meet. So let's come in here, trim extend system. So I want to go to the column with this beam, and then I want to go to this rafter with this column, and that's my point. So that's my meeting point there. So I'm going to draw a line from here out here, and then I'm going to move that, and just keep an eye on your UCS direction endpoint. We can see we want to go into Z, because you can see I have it misorientated. So in the Z direction to the end point of this. And now let's fix our UCS, and let's come in here, fillet radius 0, this to this, because they're in the same plane, and that is going to be my point. So that's one end, and what you can do, I guess, is we could just mirror that, right? So we can do, let's select these and mirror. Select mirror point's going to be the midpoint of this. Preview, and it's going to bring in my line over here. Now, to find the point for the rafters, then where this hip is going to be, basically we're going to move this back, and I'm just going to move it back to, oh, sorry, I didn't snap to anything there. Endpoint. Endpoint in the Y direction. I'm just going to move it. I should probably move it to the center. So what I'll do is I'll move it to the system line there. And the same thing here. Endpoint in the Y direction. And node was already active, but node's there. Alright. So now I have a circle there at the end of that one, and I want to create a circle on the end of this one, just so I know where the ends were before. And then I can either drag this back to that, so go in the Y direction to the end point of this line, and you can see it's activating the end point, which is really accurate way of doing it. I don't always do it this way, but in the Y end point, it's probably the best way to do it, to be fair. My UCS is in the right place, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw in a beam again from the node of that to the node of this, and then the next one can be from the node of this to the node of that, and so on. Now obviously I'm modeling funny angles here, so I'm not able to go my left to right in typical way, so these ones just kind of wing it. 12x14 will do for now, so we can see that's good for now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate this one. I'm not going to mirror it, because mirroring it mirrors the beam. I prefer to rotate, so we can either select this and just do rotate, or what we can do is we can add a connection over here. This is showing you roundabout ways to do things. It's not really always the best way. So I'm just going to join these two here, right? And if I come in here and do advanced copy and I do rotate, include additional connections is ticked, so that will include this connection. Select the points from center point of that up. I do not want to delete the source objects. 1, 8, 2 objects. So you can see it has nothing to connect to here, so it's asking me select corresponding. So this is the corresponding. Okay. Now I have to remember my system line is not correct here now, so I want to fix that system line. So let's fix that system line there, and this one is good. Alright, so now I actually don't need these beams here, right? They don't really, it doesn't really work for me. So what I want to do is I'm going to go to 2D, which you should be most likely working in all the time. I'm just going to shade it to make it a little easier for you watching. And I'm going to come this way. Alright, and then do properties. And I'll make that white. And now I'm going to extend all these columns up to that point. So all I have to do is trim extend system. Now we can do one at a time, or we can select them all and they'll all get extended. So they are now all extended. So where are we going from this? Alright, so I want to copy these. So they're all at the same height. So now we can select these two. We can come in here, do this advanced copy, which is connected to this copy. So once I have this ticked in here, it will copy those connections. Select these two. Let's come back in, let's come back in here, and my snaps are good. So I'm going to do this advanced copy from this node. That's a little hard to see, so just orbit a little bit there. And to this node, and you can see it's not looking for corresponding entity because the parts we're connecting to are where they're supposed to be because I extended them. And there you go, we have them all in there. Shouldn't have put the last one in, but it'll be a good lesson just to show you now. So if I delete this, it's like, oh no, it's left this crappy connection over here. Same over here. So what you want to do is change the display type of these. Now the best way to do that is to select the two of them and come down here to your quick views and just click that, and it'll change the presentation type, and then you can go and delete that feature that you put in by accident, and then you're good. So that is the height of those beams when they're connected. Sorry, I'm just looking at these, why these are so low. I shouldn't have drawn them. I never extended. Yeah, I didn't extend these. So what you can do, probably not the best idea, is move this up. I would probably redraw it, to be honest, but this should work. You just need to be accurate with your modeling. And I have had some horror stories. One of my first jobs was a big concrete job, and I drew all the grid lines in, only to find out that only to find out that I was off by a 16th or something with the grid lines. So it was a total nightmare. I had to redraw all the grids, all the concrete walls, everything. It was like, at the time, right now it probably would have been a half a day's work. Back then it was like a day or two's work. It was really terrible. So I'm just deleting these connections here, as you can see, and I'm going to get rid of these. We don't need these ones on the end either. So we have our custom commands. I was calling them custom connections there for a minute. Custom commands. So we have this. So I'm going to move these two beams down. Down in the Z direction. Now I'm not going to talk through everything. I click over here, you'll be able to see it or slow it down or stop it or whatever, because I do have to get work done too. Yeah, so we're going to be missing this one. We'll have to figure out what's going on with that one. Now if you want to send somebody a model, look at a preliminary model, you might want to just cut these off here. So first of all, I guess we would want to trim the system lines. So trim the system lines and then come in here and you can cut to object, and then after you do the first one you can copy that one over to here, and then you can see you have it looks like that. So you know, if you want to do that, maybe they want to just weld these, so you know, that might be an option for me. If they were just going to weld this because they want this to be a moment connection, it would probably be best to weld them in the shop, obviously. But if they can't weld them in the shop, obviously you put a seat under things like this if you're going to weld them, but if you put a seat under this, it's going to be hard to put it in, right? So you have to put a seat on the top of it. So I would probably just put a plate in there. So for this case, I would just put in a square. You could just put in a square plate and cut it off at 45, because we know the roof is 45. So let's just see. If I put it in here on the center point, midpoint, and then if you want to put in the plate here, objects, and the plate, I put in midpoint between 2 points by accident, so I have to pick the same point twice. So we can just put in a plate here. Make it 4 by 4. I don't like this color for plates either, so I'll change that. And then you could just cut the corner off that if you wanted to. See, you can do whatever size you want. You can do 4 by 4. And then you could have a plate in there. You could weld this plate then in the shop. So if you wanted to, you could just pick this and go to home and weld. And then go to midpoint. Alright, and then that's going to be a double fillet weld because you're going to have it on either side. And additional data would be TYP. Typical. Alright, try and get the weld symbols right while you're putting them in. It's worth the effort, so you don't have to change them again later on in the drawing. So now, if I come here to my selection filter, you have these options here. You'll get used to by using them. This one is all objects connected, and this is all objects connected in site or in shop. So you can see that those two are welded in the shop. Now, I should be able to see that line. It's funny I can't. Yeah, see, I didn't call it right there. 4 inches. I don't know how that happened. It's not letting me do 4 inches, even though the plate is 4 inches. So another thing you could do is you could just cut this with a polyline, and you could just pick these 3 corners, and then that's cut with a polyline. Now you can see the line, so you can see that that's cut properly when you're orbiting. So you could do that same thing over on the other side if you wanted to. What I'll do is I'll just copy it over so you can see how to do it. So come in here, advanced copy. Now you can mirror with the plate, it's going to work, or you can rotate. We'll just do a mirror just so you can see. Select mirror points. It's going to be right down the middle of the model, so right down here. And select objects, because I didn't select the objects. I'm just going to select the plate. And we can see that the weld has also gone over. Okay, Alright, so like that, right? Alright, so that worked. Alright, so I guess the next thing I did, obviously I have to clean up some of this. I'll probably clean up some of this off video and then come back and do some connections on video and then do some drawing styles, stuff like that, output in the drawings. So first of all, what we want to do is we want to edit our prototypes. So unfortunately I started doing this and then realized that my video wasn't recording, so I'm going to go back in and do it again. So let's go here to output tab, edit prototype. Now I'm not going to go through all the buttons. I haven't, because you're going to see me using them as I go. So a lot of them I don't use, a lot of them you won't need to use. So I've created this drawing style, I'm going to delete it. And I created this one, or not drawing style, prototype. So I've deleted them. So we'll start again. So let's go here, open this. First thing you do straight away is save it. So save as. So save as, save. So same guy calling me there, so I better get the phone soon. Alright, so I've saved it as my own. Some important things to know is come down here to this tab, right click, page setup. This is one of the most important things for me. Modify. In here it's automatically set to extents. So if you have any details outside of the page, it's going to print like a really weird size. So you need this to set the layout, and it will just print what's in this black area. That is important. This is where it uses the plot style, and there's some other information in here which you can change when you're plotting individual sheets. You can also create new plot styles. You can come in here, you can save as, create a new plot style. Basically this is showing you that I don't use the table view, I'm definitely in the form view. Go here, that any color that's color 1 red will print in black. So I like to do color 10 in red, and I also do color 8, the object color, that's good, and 253 is the object color. Okay, and the rest are black. Alright, save and close. I'm not going to create a new one, I'm just going to leave it this one. So that's okay. Close. Alright, now a lot of stuff is controlled in here, so check your units in here. Units, we can have the precision to what we want, right? So units, actually it is useful in this drawing to change this to not fractional, no, not fractional, sorry, decimal. I'm trying to think what I changed it to. Architectural precision inches. I had this issue before where when I was putting in where I'm putting in a weld symbol with 3 and 12 or whatever, that it would come in as 3 and 1 foot, and I had to change this, and I believe it was the decimal. But what I'll do for now is I'll just leave it the way it was. I'll leave it at 1/32. Alright, and then other stuff like your dimension styles. So dim styles, you can see we have dimension style. I'm going to create a new dimension style here. So what I'll do is new dimension style, and do a mid for, so style 1 is like 1/8, and then this one will be 5:30 seconds, 3:30 seconds, sorry. 3:30 seconds. Now just check in here when you're starting out. Arrow size break, that's okay. Primary units. Zero suppression with feet. So it'll just show you inches, but I want the feet as well. The precision we can set to 1/32 or 1/16. 1/16 is probably enough. Okay, so now that's saved. Now come into this other one and go back, because I should have changed this first before I copied it. Primary units, okay. And then I can set, I prefer it to be at 3:30 seconds. You can also have a small one, so we could go in here and modify, sorry, go in here and new, and let's have a small one, and go to text, and let's just make the text 1/16, just in case we need it. Some tight spaces. Sometimes you don't really want to have your dimensions different sizes, but sometimes you can get caught to have to use one. So I'm going to make this one set as my current. So the mid one is my current, and then close. And now if I go back in dim styles, we can see we have these three. So close. So now we can see there's the title block and the frame are both in blocks. So if you double click, you can see this is hyper page frame, and then hyper steel page header is this one, and this is just a revision table. So I'm not going to edit this one, but you can if you want. Block editor, and then you can change this. Actually, why don't we change it just for laugh? Fillet radius 1/8 multiple. So we'll round off some of the corners just so you can see. Alright, save. Yes, I want to save the changes, and it's always good to do at sync. I don't think it's going to matter with the page frame. It's not even letting me select the block. Alright, so let's not worry about that. So block editor. So now we're going to come in here, and this is Autodesk out of box one, which isn't actually too bad right now, but I'm going to change it a little bit. So what we'll do is we'll do project number, so it'll just give you an idea. But if you Google if you just Google advanced steel tokens, you'll come up with this list of tokens. So this is a list of tokens you can use, and these values you will enter in your project settings, and then they will become available for your title blocks. So I'll show you that. So what we'll do is we'll just put in project number. So project underscore number, and the description is project number. So what we'll do is we'll just copy these two from, let's put some points in here. Endpoint, midpoint, and the endpoint to the midpoint, and then let's draw a line from the midpoint down, and then let's change this to project number, and then double click on this. So this is just text up here. Project number, so I want to do project underscore NO, project NO. And you can see that has updated. Now I'm also going to delete this icon out here, and I'm going to get my own one. So if I go to my own icon, we could just open it in Paint, and this is how I like to do it. You can just attach an image if you want, but this is how I do it. I copy and paste in, so I zoom back out. Clipboard and paste, or Control V. And if you click here, you can see you have the option of locking the aspect ratio or no. So you can see you can do all sorts of weird things, which actually works so good in here. It doesn't work as good in other programs, even animation programs. So what I'm going to do is I will lock it, and then I will resize it down to somewhere that looks like it might fit in there, and then move it over here, and then I'll generally just drag it somewhere where it's smaller, because I don't want the image to go over the lines. And then I can move this from this point to the midpoint between these 2 points, and that should put it in the center of the box. Now if you want to, you can change all the colors of all these. You can change the text, so you can just change them to red. Now you need to be careful, because if this red is red number 10, it's going to plot as red because I just changed the red. So let's change these all to yellow. Now you can also use your match properties, and it'll change those. So if you wanted to change them all, you can change them all these headers, so that it's easier for you to see them. But now the problem is I've kind of changed the text there, right, as well, because it's following the other text. So let's see. The best way to do it is probably just to select them all if you want them all to be yellow. Something like that, right? Maybe you want to make it look different. I don't know why. There might be a reason you want to print things out and other things not in color. That's how you control it. You can change the text by going in here. Now there's not a whole lot of selection here, because you need to go and change it up here in your tools. Sorry, label and dimensions in here. Manage text styles, and then you can add them all here. So if you want to add one, just do new, and what am I going to call it? Architect. Okay. The current style has been modified. Do you want to save the changes? So architect, and then architect's daughter, apply, close. Now if I click on this, I have the option of changing it to architect text, and you can see that has changed. And then if I say, oh, that looks good, I can just change these ones to that also. Alright, so this is basically what you can do. You can do the same thing with this. Maybe I say, you know, I want this to be architect also. So, and then these texts seem to be the same size, so we can do the same thing. We can match these. So it's not actually going to change the token, it'll just change the text. So everything else looks pretty good. Let's do fillet radius 1/16, M for multiple, and let's just round off the corners of the box here. And then I can move this over, but I guess I can move the whole block, right? So we can either just move this. So let's close this. Or I can move the whole block and move this. 1 8. Okay, and now before you save out of this, well, you can save it first. I want to do at sync ATTS. Nobody told me about this at the start. Drove me crazy. I wasn't able to figure out why my title blocks weren't updating. Select the title block and yes, and that'll update that. Now it also can be good practice to run an audit on this. And 40 advanced steel objects purged. So it's cleaned out that drawing. Things that aren't being needed, but like certain things I deleted there. So I'm going to save that, and now that drawing is saved with this revision table. You can also add a revision table by going to here. So revision table, and it'll allow you to add a revision table. If you lose that or delete it, you can edit it in there. Alright, so let's close that. And now let's do one for a single part and a main part. So now you've added a couple of custom commands. You've created a model. We've created the drawing for our approvals. Now we need the parts drawings. So let's go and do that now while we're in there. So let's come down here. Assembly would probably be a C most likely, and single part could be a B. So they could be B and C, both of them, but I'll do a C for assembly and a B. You can do the rest yourself. Alright, so now we're in the single part, so you want to save this straight away. Underscore ADM is what I do. And go into the other one. I didn't do anything yet, but I did save there. So you see, if I had done something and then did save, it would have messed up my prototype. So it's a good idea when you start to go and save all these prototypes before you add new ones, and then you won't have to reinstall to find the original one. So just go in and find that folder. So it's in the same place. It's near this screen. So if you go into Advanced Steel 2022 USA, shared, support, prototypes. So go in. What I would do is new folder and just call it 8/18/2022. Now you could always just do this in an external hard drive or whatever, but I would just copy the ones I want and just put them in there. So basically you could go here and just grab your ANSI D one, that one, and my new one, and then copy. Probably best to copy them all. They're not that big, they're pretty small. So you can see this one, my prototype, you can see is larger, and it's larger because I have my image pasted in there. So it's like 1 megabyte of image. Now people might be like, that takes up a lot of room. You could reduce the size of the image, which is probably a better idea. So resize the image before you bring it in, but it hasn't been an issue for me. Sorry, I hope you can see what's going on there. So yeah, so copy them in here. Let me close that. I'm going to go back here. So now we're going to have the same issue here. We want to come down here into our page setup manager, modify. This is the most important thing for me. Layout, landscape. Okay, everything else is fine. Okay, close. Now, we don't have the drawing styles in here that we have in the other one, right? So let me go back into this one, and let's do the steps at the same time in each. Modify layout, most important for me. Otherwise you plot out. I like to, if I update drawings, I'll pull the details over here and then update this one and keep the old one here for reference. And then sometimes I leave them there, but then if you plot, it's going to plot out this area instead of just this area. So I don't know why it would be set that way out of the box. Doesn't make any sense to me, really. So let's just see now if we do an image resize. So let me go and do it now while I'm thinking about it. Title block. So let's go to image resize. Free online. I don't know if Adobe has anything free, but let's try it. Upload your photo. Browse your device. This is actually not a clear image, even though it says it is. I think I opened it in Paint and then image scale. That's a bit weird. It's just letting me make it bigger, right? Resize for... custom. Alright, well this is locked, so let's come way down and let's make this 600 and 400. See, I've lost a bit of quality there, you can see, but let's download it. Sign. I already have an account. See, nothing's for free, right? So let's go back. This is the one I usually use, so let me use this one. Let's see. I just want to see, for the sake of it, if there's any difference as a percentage. Let's try that. Image resizer didn't need me to sign in, so that's a good sign. Show in folder, and edit with Clipchamp. See, I don't even know where Clipchamp came from, so God only knows how this stuff gets on your computer. So now let's try this. Copy this. Alright, now let's just see, for interest's sake, let's go and open the ADM one. This one. And let's go in and see. See, and it's almost the right size as well. Look at that. How about that for luck? Okay, not quite as clear, right? But so that'd be a problem if it's not as clear, I guess, right? It's not a huge difference, really, is there? So let's delete this one and we'll see. So beforehand, this was like... I won't be as accurate this time. Save this. Alright, so save that. You can do the same thing in these title blocks, so I'm not really going to get into it. Now obviously this drawing is smaller, so you can see that that image is still big for here. And let's aspect ratio is good. It can be hard to drag it, so it's better to move it. Just doesn't like to be dragged sometimes. Move it from this point to the midpoint between 2 points. Alright, so let's just go back and let's see what size this is. A lot of phone calls, I better get off this now in a minute. Toolbars, no, let's go back. Steel, shared, support, prototypes. So you can see now, because I've switched the image size, that it's gone way down. So probably a good idea to switch the image size down depending on how large you want your drawing, I guess. But it doesn't really make a huge difference. Well, percentage wise it does, but I haven't had any issues. I don't know why I'm surprised this is coming in so big, because this drawing is not that much smaller. I guess it's quite a bit smaller. Alright, let's move this over. So you can do the same thing in here I did in the other one. You can change all these tokens, change the colors, change the numbers, change the lines, you know, anything you want to do. Now, I was gonna unlock the aspect ratio and make the image a different size, but you know, you can resize all these boxes, whatever you need to do. Project, everything is okay there. You can add other tokens, go look at the token list. Phase, revision, drawing number. You want to change this, actually, now that I remember. You want to change this to part number. So if I go back to the tokens, wherever they are, they're here. So we've got a tokens, it's at drawing number right now. I don't want the drawing number there, I want the part number there. I don't know why they don't have it automatically coming in with the part number. They should. So what we want to do is we want to have a look here. Revision index, phase, lot number, single part position number, drawing number, piece mark of object. So this one here, piece mark of object. So POS number, piece mark of object. So just remember POS NUM. POS NUM. So go in here. POS. You know what POS stands for, right? It's funny saying it in your head a little bit. Piece number. That's going to be my drawing number, is going to be my piece number. And I believe it's the same for the single part. So save that. Do your ATS sync, select yes, yes. Go back into the other one. You can see I don't have anything. You're like, what's going on? All my stuff disappeared. Come down here, click on ANSI B. There it is again for your page space, model space, paper space, whatever it's called, paper space, and block editor. And you can see my single part is coming in as the piece number. So that's good. So let's do ATT sync, select, yes. Now these down here are, this is your bolts. So you can see, or this is not your bolt, sorry, this is the single part. So that's the quantities in the assembly. Not really going to get into that, just leave them the way they are for now. There's other videos there showing you how to, this one will be the length of your beam and all that, and on the assembly it'll show you all the parts. Now this is not the way I put them on my drone, and this is the bolt list down here, so this will show you how many bolts on site. So this is the bolt list, this is the parts list. So I generally keep this over there, and I put the bolt list up there in the top corner. So you can do all that, so just check this and see what it is. It's a structured list, and you can edit all these lists and create new ones. So if you want to go, if you delete it by accident, come in here and insert drawing list, and then you want to tie it down in those two corners, and you want to do structured list bolts. Okay, then delete this one, and then you can try and move this, but it's not going to snap back in. Then you can see, let's see if we click on it, it's tied on the bottom. Delete during prototype change. So that's one that I need to do, and I didn't even know that was there. So when I update prototypes, my lists come back in. So let's go in here, bolt list. So that's something I need to do. I don't know if that was always available. It's available now though. So I'm going to come in here, and I'll do a little list here, and I'll do bolt list, okay, and top two corners, delete during prototype change. I have not had this ticked in mine, because when I change prototype it keeps the lists, and then I have other lists, and then I'm deleting lists, and it's a pain in the rear end. So let's see if the delete during prototype change. That's great. I didn't even know that. So thank you everyone for helping me learn how to do that. So that's a good one. That's a good one. I have to do a short video on that now. Let me write that down. Delete lists. Okay, it's almost 10 o'clock. Oh my, I better get to doing some real work. Well, this is real work, I guess. So same here, let's go here, delete during prototype. Alright, so they're set out of the box that way. It's when you create a new one. So if I create a new list, it's not, so then you want to tick that. Okay, alright, that's good. Alright, so now we have created parts, we have created prototypes for outputting our piece details and all that. So once we get some more of this done, I'll put in some cameras, we'll do some connections. It's not going to be like a 10-hour course, but I have a couple of hours left in it, and I think the second one being an hour long is probably appropriate. We're just reaching the hour mark. So basically we can, if you want, you can copy these over, but there's a lot of modeling to do which will take obviously hours, and I can do that off screen, and then I'll get back to adding some connections and that maybe later. Alright, thanks for watching. Alright, take care.